Hello and welcome to my BR hard mode guide. Today I will be talking about each one of the bosses in this dungeon, and I will be going over their mechanics and giving you some advice on how to deal with those mechanics. And hopefully after this guide you will have learned something and be able to efficiently beat BR hard mode, and therefore you will be able to get some lacking scales. Alright, the first boss, Mephisis. The first mechanic you want to be concerned with is the poison puddle mechanic. He will target a random player, give them secondary aggro, and then drop a poison puddle underneath them. Now this puddle doesn't last, but however it does do damage, so you want to make sure you are out of the puddle before it goes off. You can iframe out of it, you can run out of it, just get out of it. The next mechanic you want to be concerned with is the poison gas. You want to position the boss to the side of the room, so that way you can close off the rocks after they open and spew poison gas everywhere. Now when they open, the poison gas will cover the entire room, and when it does that, everyone's going to get a debuff. This debuff needs to be cleansed, and then you're also going to enter a drunken state. Now to get rid of this drunken state and to sober up, you need to just jump. That's it. Just jump. And when you jump, your screen will return to normal, and then you can go back to doing what you were doing. Now, to note that on hard mode, there are 2 rocks, and the first rock opens at 80%, and the second rock opens at 60%. All right, now to the next mechanic. So this is a kind of a 2-part mechanic. The boss will go into a shell, and that means one of 2 things. Either you're going to see rings around him, and you're going to know that you can go in close to be safe, or you can stay far away to be safe. Now, in between those 2 rings, it's going to deal damage over time and continuous damage. So what you want to do is make sure that if you are in it, get out immediately, and if you are not in it, do not go in it right away. If you don't see any rings, what you want to do is get out of melee range, because he's about to just start spinning and doing a bunch of damage. Now this can be blocked if you are a tank or a berserker, so you can do that if you don't want to get out of melee range. Alright, the next mechanic you want to concern yourself with is at 30%, he will go into his shell and gain a shield. Now this shield you need to break before it expires, otherwise he's going to do massive AoE to the whole party, and this could cause a party wipe. Periodically the boss will target players with secondary aggro, and when he does this, you won't see a ring around it like you would for the poison puddles. That means he's about to do a poison spit at you. Now for this, all you have to do is just run to the side and you won't get hit by the poison spit. If you do get hit, however, you will get a debuff, and that needs to be cleansed. Alright, on to the next boss, Tannabus. Now this is a giant fish, and there's 2 things you want to know about this encounter. 1, the giant fish, and 2, the swimming pool in the middle. Alright, now that you know this, I'll get into some of the mechanics. Alright, the first mechanic you want to worry about is the boss will target a random player, and they'll get secondary aggro like the first boss, and this time they'll drop a puddle on the player's location. Now this puddle will last the rest of the encounter, and if you walk into the puddle, you will gain a debuff, and that debuff will slowly drain your mana. This will also prevent you from gaining any mana from any additional sources. Now, this debuff is not cleansable, and the only way to get rid of it is to go into the middle and swim in the swimming pool. When the boss shouts, "Can you control your fear?" he will then start glowing blue, and you have 7 seconds to either stagger him or knock him down. Otherwise, everyone in the party will be feared and start running around aimlessly. Alright, next mechanic. When you get a notification that a barrier is surrounding the swimming pool, what you need to do is have your DPS or your tank and your healer, whoever, you want somebody to start damaging the barrier and breaking it. Because while the barrier is up, no one can access the pool. And if anyone's in the pool when the barrier is up, they're trapped in the swimming pool. Alright, next mechanic. When the pool says it will be overflowing, there will be purple telegraphs around the pool, and what you want to do is stand where there aren't any purple telegraphs. And this move can be iframed, so if you can't get out in time, try iframing it. Now, there is also a feat that you can earn if you do not get hit by the overflow from the pool, and you kill the boss. Alright, on to the last boss, Fulminar. Now, if you've done normal mode, then hard mode will seem very familiar. There's not too many more mechanics, you're just missing a lot of the telegraphs. So let's get started onto the first mechanic. When the boss shouts, "Let's cut you down to size" at 90%, 60%, and 30%, what you need to do is you need to watch out for the buzzsaws that are coming through the middle of the room from the outside of the room. Now, unlike normal mode, the last two buzzsaws will leave a trail behind them, and this trail will deal 30,000 damage per second. So whatever you do not stand in them. They will kill you. Now, if for whatever reason you need to go through one, you can iframe over it, and you will probably only take one tick. All right, on to the next mechanic. At 85%, 55%, and 25%, you will see a notification saying water rushes into the chamber. Now, what you want to do for this is you want to go to the center of the room in the circle like you would on normal mode. However, this move is no longer iframeable. What you want to do is stand to the edge of the circle so that you all get knocked back in the same direction, and then your healer will cleanse you once you guys have hit the wall. Now, one thing to note though is that if you're a sorcerer, you can warp barrier this, and if you're a ninja, you can smoke bomb the whole team to be the MVP. All right, on to the next mechanic. The boss will target random players and throw 3 electric balls at them. The best thing to do is to stack all the balls together, and if you have a brawler, stack them in between the brawler and the boss so that the brawler will just AoE them down. The boss will target random players and try to saw them in half. When he's doing this, you'll see a giant AoE around where the target player is, and that player needs to get out of there, because if they don't, they'll get sucked into the middle, gain a debuff, and this debuff is not cleansable. As this debuff persists, they will create an electric field that radiates around them that will deal damage to the electric balls in addition to your friendly party members. The boss will periodically jump into the air, and when he jumps into the air and then lands, upon landing, he will then create a electric knockback, and this electric knockback doesn't knock you back too far. However, you don't want to get hit by this, because the follow-up attack, where he does like the first boss, where he creates rings around him, and inside is safe and far out is safe, but in between the rings is not safe. This is what will probably kill you. It's his little combo attack that you want to watch out for. All right, on to the next mechanic. Before he shouts, Forminar prepares a fatal blow. His saw on his back will glow. Then he will whip it around, potentially killing DPS. Then he shouts his voice line, gains a shield that needs to be broken. If it's not broken, then everyone will get knocked back and receive a debuff. Now, you can iframe this knockback, which will also not apply a debuff. However, if you're not confident that the shield will break or that you can iframe it, what you want to do is put your back to a wall so that you don't get pushed back too far, and that way your healer can cleanse you afterwards. When the boss says he is bringing you gifts, it's a trap. Don't believe him. He will start a cage mechanic. If outside of the cage, when it happens, you will die. And then if you res, you will die again. So stay dead until the mechanic is over. However, if you are inside, there's a couple things you want to look out for. He does 2 different sets of patterns. He does the pizza pattern, he does the donut pattern. And to tell which pattern he's going to do, it's going to depend on which way the boss faces. If going into the mechanic, the boss turns and faces whoever has primary aggro, then that means that you will be getting the pizza mechanic. If he continues to look the direction that he was when he went into the cage mechanic, then he's going to do the donut mechanic. Now, the pizza mechanic is pizza slices that alternate. And the donut mechanic is the same deal, alternating donuts, starting with the inside being safe and going from there. Now, if you survive this far and you get the boss to 15%, then he will go berserk. Once he is berserked, he gains a power and attack speed buff after shouting, "You cannot withstand the full brunt of my power." Now, he keeps this buff until either he dies or your party dies. So good luck. All right, guys, that's it for my BR hard mode guide. I hope you learned something. If you did, drop a like. If you like this content, consider subscribing.